Time. Time is something we face every day. In seconds, minutes, hours, and even years, we stand at the face of time. Throughout time, we explore new things. Exploring is a risk. With it comes encounters and a possibility for mistakes. In history, we have seen many encounters and exchanges, but not very many have threatened to destroy the world. This deadly encounter was caused by one thing: the exploration of the atomic bomb. Explorations, encounters, and exchanges are shaped by man, and right now, we need to use the past to save the future. The past is our history. Our history is our story. This is the story of the encounters of a great mistake. As World War II escalated, Germany was suspected of creating a nuclear fission weapon. Enrico Fermi and Leo Szilard had started research on this topic at their laboratory in Chicago, and soon realized the importance of their studies. They could explore the possibility of creating a deterrent, a defense against the Nazis that was never meant to be used. On July 16, 1939, Albert Einstein, a fully devoted pacifist, sent a letter urging Roosevelt to create a bomb, the world's greatest, yet most deadly exploration. Einstein wrote, quote, "Some recent work by Enrico Fermi and Leo Szilard, which has been communicated to me in manuscript, leads me to expect that the element uranium may be turned into a new and important source of energy in the immediate future." End quote. Creating the bomb was going to be a decision that would bring endless encounters and a choice that all three scientists would later regret. It was an exploration that Einstein would later call the Great Mistake. Upon receiving Einstein's letter, Roosevelt established the Manhattan Engineer District, the MED, in order to begin the development of an atomic weapon. General Leslie Groves, an accomplished general and engineer, was appointed in 1942 to direct the MED along with Robert J. Oppenheimer at their lab in Los Alamos, New Mexico. Conducted under the greatest secrecy, General Groves had to conduct one of the biggest explorations in human history. The German government could not find out about the project in fear of accelerating their progress. With help from the Alsos Project, an organization that tracked down leading scientists in Germany for the information on the atomic bomb, Oppenheimer had devised multiple plans for how the bombs were to be constructed and lifted. On May 7, 1945, Germany officially surrendered to the Allies. There was no longer a purpose for the Manhattan Project. The nuclear threat was gone, but the war in the Pacific was not over. At this time, the scientists at Los Alamos, New Mexico, had developed two bombs, one made of plutonium and another made of uranium. President Truman then ordered to test the plutonium bomb. Fermi, Szilard, and Oppenheimer did not want the bomb to be used in the Pacific. Szilard sent out petitions to argue against the bomb's usage, saying that they would create a monopoly and should be disarmed. If not, he feared that the US and the Soviet Union, a communist nation on their quest in spreading their belief, would start an arms race, an encounter that no one would see the end of. On July 16, 1945, the Manhattan Engineer District conducted the Trinity test. At about 5:30 a.m., the Earth saw something that it never had seen before, and sent a blast equal to, some estimate, 19 kilotons. After the blast, Oppenheimer stared down at the destroyed landscape. What once was sand stood green glass. What was once an idea turned into an option. Oppenheimer exclaimed after the test, "I am Shiva, destroyer of worlds." Now that the Trinity test was a success, the United States had to deal with one of the biggest decisions in history. What to do next? The war in the Pacific was looking relentless. Japan was planning to fight until the very end and showed no signs of surrender. Even with multiple options, Truman and his council members, including Secretary of State Henry L. Stimson and General Groves, decided to drop the bomb. This was going to be a risk, an exploration into the unknown, where limitless encounters lie ahead. On August 6th, 1945, the atomic bomb was no longer just the United States exploration. Its ideas were about to be exchanged with the whole world. As the Enola Gay flew above the Japanese landscape, the press of a button changed the course of mankind. Down below, 70,000 civilians were dead, including those who died in the bomb's radiation soon after. This violated not only the international law of bombing civilians, but it also seemed to be an exchange that changed the face of war forever.
I don't consider it a mistake, I consider it a crime. It's even worse than a mistake. I mean, it's a crime against humanity. Because what is worth doing that threatens the existence of all life on the planet?
Paul Tibbets, the pilot of the Enola Gay, flew away as the rest of the world watched the creation of a new age. The day after the bomb was dropped, the United States sent pamphlets over the sky warning Nagasaki of another atomic encounter. In an attempt to stop the Japanese leaders from fighting a useless war, the United States wanted the people to blame their leaders for their country's destruction. Without a response, the United States dropped its second bomb, killing 40,000 people below. On August 14th, Emperor Hirohito accepted the Potsdam Protocol towards unconditional surrender, with the exception of his remain as emperor. Finally, the war was over. A new war, however, was about to begin. Nuclear energy was new in this world, and its encounters were yet to come. After the droppings of the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Information and technology was rapidly exchanged between countries such as Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union. Germany, however, had no idea how such a destructive weapon could be created or transported. With the Atomic Energy Act of 1946, scientists felt the need to endorse nuclear energy as a positive and inform the world about how it can be used for peace. This exploration later led to the Atomic Energy Commission, an organization that was resulted in the disband of the MED and turned towards controlling nuclear power from those who could abuse it. This began the Atomic Age, a future where energy would be limitless and knowledge would be vast. The US was the only country with this kind of power, but just as Szilard anticipated, the Soviet Union was on its way, and his prediction was about to come true. In June 1946, the Atomic Energy Commission held its first meeting and came up with the Baruch Plan, an easy way to stop any encounter due to the new technology before it becomes too late. The Baruch Plan would completely abolish nuclear warfare by having the US turn over its weapons in agreement for all other countries to discontinue their making. The Soviet Union rejected the plan, claiming that the Americas would still have the control over them, and they too would soon have a weapon. The fight towards fixing the great mistake was looking to be rough, and one that never seemed to have a final agreement. After the Soviet Union created a fission bomb in 1949, both the United States and the Soviet Union tried to keep up with each other. With the Baruch Plan being a failure, now two countries were encountering a need for more advanced weapons and strategies. The thermonuclear bomb, or hydrogen bomb, was created in both the United States and the Soviet Union in an attempt to gain the lead. Although sparking various movements to prevent such a weapon, the United States were forced to create bombs that were 1,000 times as strong as the one dropped on Hiroshima.
I kind of think that probably if we hadn't done it, the Soviet Union would probably have done so. You know, it's so easy to make a determination on what we should have done, we wouldn't in this context. But if you look at the context of the time, you got to know what's going on. It was really a scary time, and a lot of people thought we needed to have this weapon. You know, I don't know if that would have made that much a difference, but what it did do, ironically, is keep the peace, pretty much. No one would dare attack the other one directly, fearing that they would also get destroyed.
As the war intensified, the United States placed nuclear weapons in Turkey in order to defend and respond to any threat in a matter of minutes. The United States, however, weren't the only ones. Cuba had begun to show clear evidence of being allies with the Soviet Union. The U-2 reconnaissance plane, flying at 70,000 feet and nearly undetectable by radar, spotted conclusive evidence of Soviet missiles that could reach Washington, D.C. in 10 minutes from the Caribbean island. Only being 90 miles away from Key West, Florida, the encounters at Cuba were beginning to determine the fate of the Cold War. On October 22, 1962, President John F. Kennedy announced to the world the crisis that was unfolding. Everyone wanted Kennedy to press the button, the same button that started this exploration. Kennedy would have started World War III, but he didn't. On October 28, 1962, by discussing the issue away from the media, Nikita Khrushchev agreed to remove his missiles out of Cuba, and the US removed theirs out of Turkey. A year after the crisis, the two superpowers set up a communication system, a hotline, that would prevent any unnecessary disagreements that could lead to nuclear war. Some would call Kennedy the hero that prevented nuclear war, but to few, he was part of one endless line of encounters, and this close call would not be the last. During the most recent years, nuclear energy and its history is repeating itself. Encounters are emerging from the explorations taken during World War II that may bring us closer and closer to nuclear war. The key word is may. Our choices led up to the time and place we are right now. People can see the exploration of nuclear energy as something positive, or as something negative. Sure, an encounter is creating a weapon that can decimate mankind, but another encounter is discovering alternative uses for the energy, such as nuclear stress tests and nuclear energy incentives. What really matters is the present, right now. We need to fight to prevent what many did not so long ago. Only the past knows if this exploration was a great mistake. The exchanges led to great and not so great encounters which we can see today. In the end, it's the risks we take that matter. It can take seconds, minutes, hours, and even days to make something new. Time is something we face every day. Eventually, time will tell whether or not nuclear energy was a great mistake. For now, the clock is ticking, and people are exploring, taking risks, and making choices. Make the right one.